and recording. Okay. So we are allowing the public in. Aloha members of the public, this is the Hawaii Medical Board meeting for January 16th, 2025. We will be playing a short video to give instructions to the public and how they can interact with members of the board.
Welcome to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting. When the meeting begins momentarily, the chair will take a roll call, explain any specific rules for this particular board, and then move to public comment. The name of the board member will appear on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. For instance, this is board member Y, and this is board member E. Public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. You can indicate that you are ready to testify by clicking on the Raise Hand button being circled by the mouse on your screen now. At the appropriate time, the board will recognize you to speak and ask you to unmute your mic as shown here. Again, public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. Public attendees will not be able to unmute their microphone until recognized by the board. Public attendees who are recognized to testify will be asked to identify themselves by name and their affiliated organization if applicable. Please mute your microphone when you are finished speaking as a courtesy to others and members of the board. Public attendees will not be able to unmute themselves after the testimony is completed unless recognized again after raising their hand. At some point during the meeting, the board may choose to move into executive session. When the board moves into executive session, the board members' microphones and video feeds will be turned off, and a similar screen as you see now will be displayed. When the board returns from executive session, their microphones will be turned on as well as their video cameras. Welcome again to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting. At this time, the chair will call the meeting to order and take a roll call, as well as explain any additional rules that may be specific to this board.
So I'd like to read a few housekeeping items. So first of all, for internet access to view the meeting and to provide live oral testimony, please use the link at the top of the agenda. You will be asked to enter your name. The board requests that you enter your full name, but you may use a pseudonym or other identifier if you wish to remain anonymous. You will also be asked for an email address, and you may fill in this field with any entry in an email format. For example, your name, followed by the @ and the email domain, generally in a .com form. Your microphone will be automatically muted, and when the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may click the Raise Hand button found on your Zoom screen to indicate that you wish to testify about that agenda item. The chairperson will individually enable each testifier to unmute their microphone. When recognized by the chairperson, please unmute your microphone before speaking and mute your microphone after you finish speaking. For phone access, if you cannot get internet access, you may get audio-only access by calling the Zoom phone number listed at the top of the agenda. Upon dialing the number, you'll be prompted to enter the meeting ID, which is also listed at the top of the agenda. After entering the meeting ID, you'll be asked to enter your panelist number or wait to be admitted into the meeting. You will not have a panelist number, so please wait until you are admitted into the meeting. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may indicate you want to testify by pressing the star sign and then the number 9 on your phone's keypad. After entering the star sign and the number 9, a voice prompt will let you know that the host of the meeting has been notified. When recognized by the chairperson, you may unmute yourself by pressing the star sign and then the number 6 on your phone. A voice prompt will let you know that you are unmuted. Once you're finished speaking, please enter the star sign and then the number 6 again to mute yourself. For both internet and phone access, when testifying, you will be asked to identify yourself and the organization, if any, that you represent. Each testifier will be limited to 5 minutes of testimony per agenda item. If connection to this meeting is lost for more than 30 minutes, the meeting will be continued on a specific date and time, and this information will be provided on the board's website. Instructions to attend the State of Hawaii virtual board meetings may also be found online at the board's website. So I'll now like to call the meeting to order, and I will take a roll call. And please indicate if you are present and alone, particularly for those who are participating via a virtual format. So I'm Danny Takanishi, Oahu member, a current chairperson. I'm present and I am alone. Mr. Gary Belcher,
Present and alone.
Dr. Michael Jaffe,
Present and alone.
Dr. Elizabeth Ignacio,
Present and alone.
Mr. Wesley Munn,
Present and alone.
Dr. Angela Pratt,
Present and alone.
Dr. Rebecca Sawai,
Present and alone.
Dr. Jerry Young,
Present and alone.
Dr. Brian Hatton.
Present and alone.
Was there anyone that I missed? Okay, thank you. So next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes. I'd like to ask if there's any public testimony at this time.
Thank you, Chair. This is Johnny. We do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
Okay, thank you. So before you, you see that there are the minutes of the December 12th, 2024 open session, and then the December 12th executive session minutes. And so if I can entertain a motion to approve both sets of minutes. Yes, Mr. Belcher.
I'd like to make a motion to defer the executive session meeting minutes until the February meeting. We located a number of errors, mostly typos, but some grammatical. So I'd like to move that we address those minutes at our next meeting.
Okay, so administratively, I will pull that off and ask for a motion instead for approval of the open session minutes of December 12th, 2024.
This is Dr. Young. Move to approve.
Okay, it's been moved to approve by Dr. Young. Is there a second?
Second, Jaffe.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any additions or deletions or edits? Okay, there being none, all those who, I will abstain since I was not present at that meeting. And so I'm going to take a roll call. So any abstentions? Okay, so let me do this. So I'm the only one who abstaining. So I'm going to take a roll call, and if you can tell me if yay or nay. Mr. Gary Belcher,
Approve.
Dr. Michael Jaffe,
Approve.
Dr. Elizabeth Ignacio,
Approve.
Mr. Wesley Munn,
Approve.
Dr. Angela Pratt,
Approve.
Dr. Rebecca Sawai,
Approve.
Dr. Jerry Young, and
Approve.
Dr. Brian Hatton.
Approve.
Okay, so I'd just like to make an announcement. So for those of you who have applications that are up for consideration, we will invite you into our executive session. And so at this time, if I can entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Jaffe moves executive session.
Okay, moved by Dr. Jaffe. Is there a second?
Second, Hatton.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hatton. All those in favor of moving into executive session, please raise your hands. I see that it is unanimous, so I will not do a roll call. And we'll now proceed into executive session. Okay, we're back in open session, so I'm going to take a quick roll call. And again, if you can state if you're present and alone. So I'm Danny Takanishi, Oahu member, current chairperson. I'm present and alone. Mr. Gary Belcher,
Present and alone.
Dr. Michael Jaffe,
Present and alone.
Dr. Elizabeth Ignacio, Mr. Wesley Munn,
Present and alone.
Dr. Elizabeth Ignacio,
Present and alone.
Dr. Angela Pratt,
Present and alone.
Dr. Rebecca Sawai,
Present and alone.
Dr. Jerry Young,
Present and alone.
Dr. Brian Hatton.
Present and alone.
Okay, did I miss anyone? Okay,
Can we get a motion out of exec session real quick?
oh,
Sorry, we'll just get it in open session. That's okay.
okay,
So my motion.
okay. Thank you, Dr. Sawai. Is there a second?
Young second.
Okay. All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, sorry about that procedurally. All right. Okay, so at this point, I'd like to ask, is there any public testimony?
Thank you, Chair. This is Johnny. We do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
So we're gonna move into the applications and so do want to say that on the matter of application for endorsement for Dr. James John Teat, Dr. Michael Marushka, and Dr. Raymond Kevin Nelson, those applications were not considered by the board because the application statutorily did not meet the criterion for the endorsement pathway under which the applications were submitted. So we're going to move on to application on the matter of Dr. Ikshasvanku Amrithal Parot. I can entertain a motion.
This is why I motion to approve the application for licensure of Dr. Barot.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Pratt, was that a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, there being none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, it is unanimous. I will not take a roll call. On the matter of application of Johnson Kevin Lay, I move to approve the application for licensure. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hatton. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, it is unanimous. I will not take a roll call. On the matter of the application for licensure for Dr. Tochi Ajiwe, if I can entertain a motion.
This is Dr. Young.
Okay, thank you. Moved by Dr. Young. Thank you.
Dr. Young would like to move to approve the license of Dr. Tochi Ajiwe.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Young. Is there a second?
Ignacio second.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion? Okay, there being none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, it is unanimous, so it carries. Okay, the next is the ratification list. And so if I can entertain a motion to approve the ratification list.
Ignacio so moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Jaffe, second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. It passes unanimously, so I will not do a roll call. All right, on the agenda item for the 2025 legislative session, item A, proposed legislation relating to foreign medical graduates. I'd like to move to defer rendering a decision on this bill until the next meeting, during which I will solicit information, explanatory information from the Education Commission for foreign medical graduates to ensure that any revisions of the statutes are actually consistent with the practice of that organization, which has been described under both Part A and Part B. Can I have a second to that?
Jaffe, second.
Thank you, Dr. Jaffe. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, it passes unanimously, so not do a roll call. So the next is SB 107 relating to medical informed consent. And so on that, I'd like to make a motion that we, as this board has done in 2023 and in 2024, oppose this bill, particularly given that the Hawaii Administrative Rules, Chapter 16-85, does address the purpose of the informed consent and the general standards of categories of information, inclusive of the manner of disclosure and refusal of information. Is there a second? Thank you, Dr. Pratt. I see her hand up. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, it's unanimous, so I will not take a roll call. I'm going to turn the floor over to our executive officer and welcome aboard to your first board meeting as our executive officer, Ms. Chelsea Fukunaga, to give the executive officer report.
Thank you for that warm welcome, board. So I'd like to report that the Interstate Medical Licensure Compact went into effect on January 1st, 2025. We have issued our first non-state of principal licensure licenses. As of January 9th of this year, 16 non-state of principal licenses were issued. 6 osteopath physician licenses and 10 physician licenses. And from my understanding, I think there's been a bit more since that date. We are currently averaging about 4 business days. This may go up depending on how many applications are coming in and the availability of staff. I have not had any reported issues regarding the issuance of these licenses. And we have made updates to the Hawaii Medical Board's website to direct the public and potential applicants to the IMLC. And it'll provide all the information that applicants would like to know on where to find the application. For the Interstate Medical Licensure Compact Commission, there is appointment of commissioner. So my understanding was Randy was the other commissioner and he is no longer with the board. So this is the board's decision. My understanding is that usually the executive officer is one of the other commissioners that's elected for continuity purposes, but it is up to the board. So this is up for board vote.
Any discussion from the board? Mr. Belcher?
I move to nominate Chelsea Fukunaga to serve as the second commissioner alongside Dr. Jaffe.
And
Second.
Mr. Mudd? Was that a second?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So it's been moved and seconded. I'd just like to add that I think it's a wonderful way to have our new executive officer become involved in that great process. I mean, that Interstate Medical Licensure Compact, it's taken a while to gain traction. And I think a lot of us are very happy. So it'll be you and Dr. Jaffe as Hawaii's first commissioners to that, if the board votes accordingly. All right, so the motion on the floor is to nominate Ms. Chelsea Fukunaga, Executive Officer, as the additional commissioner to the IMLCC. Any
Yeah.
further discussion?
Yeah, second.
Okay, all in favor, please raise your hands. So it carries unanimously by acclamation. So congratulations. Ms. Fukunaga.
Thank you, board.
Okay.
The
And
next,
Dr. Jaffe can also get you up to speed because he's been involved in this for a bit. Okay. All right, so there are 2 items for you for informational purposes. The first included in your packet, the Federation of State Medical Boards does convene work groups from time to time. So the first has to do with re-entry to practice. I personally thought that they did a wonderful job in structuring this. But certainly this is out there for comment right now. And so this is included for informational purposes. You can access the Federation's website, or you can send your comments to Chelsea, and she'll make sure that it gets to the Federation. Any comments related to this work group, basically final draft document. And what will happen is, at this point, they're going to solicit information from member boards, other organizations, other stakeholder organizations. You can see from the list of participants, it's a pretty broad-based group of individuals that had broad backgrounds, from the Federation, medical boards, as well as representation, across all of the areas, American Academy of Pediatrics, National Commission on Certification of Physician Assistants, American Osteopathic College of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, and K-STAR programs. So it has a broad-based group of individuals. So just putting it out there for informational purposes. And the final has to do with the USMLE program. They're always looking for members from the state medical boards. They're very open-armed about this. And so if anyone's interested in serving on that, on the USMLE committees that create questions, this is open to all state medical board members. And so what happens is, you can see the meeting is on March 14th. But what they really strive to do is to engender as much support. So I do see that what's listed in the agenda is to discuss and consider selecting members, but the Federation of State Medical Boards is very open to self-nominations. And I have never seen, since 2007, the Federation ever turned down any board member volunteer from any of the 70 boards, that's 70, across the United States and its territories. So if there's any interest, please let Chelsea know, and the Federation of State Medical Boards will be very happy. And in honesty, it does take a fair amount of time, because they'll tell you that usually, depending on what test development committee on, acute care, chronic care, behavioral health, et cetera, professionalism, patient safety, they have a whole slew of them. Each individual usually gets assigned 50 questions to write. They give you about 6 months. They do tell you that each question takes about 1 hour to write. It goes through a series of 3 editors. It goes back to you for approval of the suggested revisions. Then they usually convene in Philadelphia for 2.5 days. All of that is all expenses paid. Round trip airfare, the hotel, ground transportation, they take you out for meals. All the meals are provided on site. And so anyone who's interested, also, the Federation of State Medical Boards will pay your way to Texas so that you can attend the March 14th meeting. And they're very reasonable, because we're from Hawaii. They know you'll need to come in the night before, and they know that you might not be able to get out that day. So they'll make sure that your lodging and your flight itinerary is accordingly compensated. It almost sounds like I'm a salesperson, but that's actually what they do. So all those who are interested, I'm just saying. Okay, so Ms. Fukunaga, is there anything else from the executive officer's perspective?
no, I just wanted to thank everybody for being so gracious and helpful today. I was really nervous coming into this meeting, so thank you.
Good job.
Great job. Yeah, we're all looking forward to working with you, and thank you so much for taking this TaskOn. All right, so our next meeting, as you can see, February 13, 2025. And so Happy New Year to everyone belatedly, but thank you again. And we'll see you on February 13th.
Thank you,
Thank
Chair.
you.
Thank you, staff.